Hi everyone, and welcome to Truth Over News. John Durham's report disclosed that 3 separate investigations into the Clinton Foundation were opened by the FBI in January 2016. We now know what the FBI was investigating, at least a very big part of it. In April 2015, the New York Times published a story about the Clinton Foundation, a flow of cash donations, and a company called Uranium One. The article was titled "Cash Flow to Clinton Foundation Amid Russian Uranium Deal," and it detailed how Uranium One was sold to Russian government-controlled interests, giving Russia effective control of 1/5 of all uranium production capacity in the United States in the process. Since uranium is considered a strategic asset with implications for the production of nuclear weapons, the deal had to be approved by the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, an entity composed of representatives from a number of U.S. government agencies. Among the agencies that eventually signed off on the deal was the State Department, then headed by Secretary Clinton, who had a voting seat on the panel. As Russian interests gradually took control of Uranium One, a lengthy story that perhaps we'll cover more fully in another show, millions of dollars were donated to the Clinton Foundation from individuals directly connected to the deal. Donors included the chairman of Uranium One, Ian Telfer, along with earlier, much larger donations from Frank Justra, whose company held the original Kazakhstan uranium assets, which were sold to Telfer's Uranium One. Although Hillary Clinton had an agreement with the Obama White House to publicly identify all donors to the Clinton Foundation, the contributions from both of these men were not publicly disclosed by the Clintons. When the New York Times article was published in 2015, then Clinton campaign spokesman Brian Fallon strongly rejected the possibility that then Secretary Clinton exerted any influence in the U.S. government's review of the sale of Uranium One, describing this possibility as baseless. But even a cursory examination of the evidence shows that Fallon's characterization was wildly off base, and it now appears that the FBI, at least at its lower-level field offices, agreed with this assessment. According to a footnote in Durham's report, and it's always the footnotes, the FBI's Little Rock field office was reviewing information concerning the Clinton Foundation, which Durham described as a narrative describing multiple funds transfers, some of which involved international bank accounts that were suspected of possibly facilitating bribery or gratuity violations. Durham noted that the transactions in question occurred between 2012 and 2014 and totaled hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, as a quick side note, anyone who's followed the Clinton Foundation story knows that financial transactions actually began much earlier and encompassed tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Meanwhile, based partly on this information, 3 different FBI field offices, the New York field office, the Washington field office, and the previously mentioned Little Rock field office, all opened investigations in January 2016 into possible criminal activity involving the Clinton Foundation. 2 of these investigations were opened by the FBI field offices based on source reporting that identified foreign governments that had made or offered to make contributions to the foundation in exchange for favorable or preferential treatment from Clinton. In particular, the Little Rock field office opened its case based on an intelligent product and corroborating financial reporting that a particular commercial industry likely engaged a federal public official in a flow of benefits scheme. The Little Rock office noted that large monetary contributions were made to a nonprofit under both direct and indirect control of the federal public official in exchange for favorable government action and/or influence. The federal public official was Hillary Clinton. Although the list of potential foreign governments is lengthy and include Russia, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine, the specific countries are not named by Durham. As Durham notes, with 3 different FBI field offices having open investigations relating to the Clinton Foundation, there was a perceived need to conduct coordination meetings between the field offices, FBI headquarters, and appropriate United States attorneys' offices, along with components from the department. Durham said that these meetings were especially important given that the investigations were occurring in an election year in which Clinton was a declared candidate for president. Therefore, on February 1st, 2016, a meeting was held at FBI headquarters to discuss the Foundation investigations. The FBI field offices were met with immediate resistance from FBI leadership. An unnamed section chief at the FBI's Office of General Counsel later told Durham that he recalled that the department's reaction to the Clinton Foundation briefings was hostile. 3 weeks later, on February 22, 2016, a second meeting was held at FBI headquarters to discuss the Foundation investigations. Unlike the other meetings, this one was chaired by FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, who would later be fired for lying multiple times to the DOJ Inspector General, including about leaks to the media regarding the Clinton Foundation investigation. McCabe was described by the director of the Washington field office as being negative, annoyed, and angry. During this meeting, the visibly upset McCabe issued instructions that the investigations into the Clinton Foundation be shut down, telling the field office personnel that there's nothing here and why are we even doing this? Although McCabe's instructions were initially met with objections, the meeting concluded with formal direction from McCabe that any further investigative steps would require his direct approval. Durham noted that FBI personnel from the field offices left the meeting frustrated with the limitations placed on them by the deputy director. But the directive from McCabe was effective, and the field office investigation stalled. But the effort to shut down any investigation into the Clinton Foundation didn't end there. A call was placed from a senior FBI official on behalf of FBI Director Comey around May 2016, directing the FBI's New York field office to cease and desist from the Foundation investigation due to some undisclosed counterintelligence concern. Now, unsurprisingly, the New York field office was never able to determine what the counterintelligence issue that was raised by Comey was. All three FBI investigations were ultimately folded into the New York office in August 2016. But for some reason, the U.S. Attorney's offices in the Southern and Eastern Districts of New York, headed by Preet Bharara and Robert Capers respectively, both declined to issue subpoenas, despite having previously expressed support for the investigation. Meanwhile, FBI headquarters had already opened a full-blown formal investigation into the Trump campaign on nothing more than fabricated rumors. The investigation into the Clinton Foundation actually harks back to the FBI's investigation of the Clinton emails, yet another FBI investigation into Hillary Clinton. A discovery by an internet researcher from our Russiagate corner of Twitter showed that on August 28, 2015, 4 months before the formal investigation was opened into the Foundation in January 2016, an FBI special agent sent a notification to preserve records to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the U.S. Department of Treasury, the Office of Director of National Intelligence, the National Counterterrorism Center, and the U.S. Department of Energy. These agencies are all part of the Committee on Foreign Investment, who, as we mentioned earlier, had previously approved the sale of Uranium One. Further notifications were sent to additional agencies just days later.